And that fucking dirty fucking via fucking driver bitch that I fucking filmed his vehicle, I said, I'll stick around here. And look, here comes another dirty via cop. They know I don't put up with bullshit. That vehicle's been unlawfully parked in a bus lane for several hours. And via PD said, oh, we're going to send that to Sapd because it's a public road. Sapd says, oh, well, via PD said they're allowed to park there, so we're not going to cite them. So we'll walk down this bus lane because I can't walk on that public road, apparently. P29, PD 47. I'm sure Sapd called you guys. You guys told them who I was. You know what's going on, right?
Nope. What's going on, Mr. Reese?
Your car over here has been parked over here for 3 hours illegally in the bus lane. And just like before, I mean, I'm going to go to your board meeting. That's what I have to do to get this crap. But it's sad that you guys won't tell your own employee to move out of a bus lane. You guys are police officers. You park here. We understand that to a degree. We don't agree with it, but hey, you're police officers. Emergency vehicles, we understand exceptions. The vehicle on the side of the road there, absolutely not. Your via bus driver parked in a area that specifically says no parking, and I brought it up. He jumps out and tells me, you can't film me, I'm going to have you arrested for filming me. I said, call the police. I waited there for an hour and a half for your officers to show up. Nothing happened. Call them back. I'm like, hey, I'd have been out of here. I'm just documenting you guys park where you're not supposed to, but your employee decided to make an issue and say, I'm not allowed to film him parking illegally. And then I noticed not one, but 2 other vehicles parked illegally. Your dispatch tells me Sapd is going to handle it. Sapd tells me we never got the call. Then Sapd sends someone out, and he goes, your name's Kyle, right? You called in a complaint? I'm like, no, you guys know who I am. Everyone, at least VIA does. I'm like, my name's Tori. I'm on the phone with your dispatch now. This vehicle's parked illegally. And, I get it if you're not going to ticket it, but tell the guy to move the vehicle. The fact is, anyone else who parked in a bus lane for that long would get a ticket or towed. Your bus drivers continually park in metered areas that other people park in, that pay to park in, and they block those access to them. Okay, that's fine. They go, well, we're told to park here. I'm not blaming your drivers, but what I am saying is, if your driver sees a big sign that says no parking this way and still parks there, and then gets out and starts yelling at me for filming his bus and saying, it's illegal to film a government employee. And I'm like, call the police, dude. I'm not dealing with you.
I didn't know that.
It's not. But I mean, again, that's the issue. Your bus driver, and it's on live camera, is sitting there threatening me, and I'm like, dude, I don't play that. Call the police. I'm gonna sit down and wait for him. And I wait for an hour and a half. I leave, and I come back. The same vehicle's there, and I'm like, guys, if I put 1 foot over here, even though this is a sidewalk, and you know that, he knows that. Supposedly, all your officers know that, but some of your officers will say this is not a public sidewalk, and they can arrest me if I step on it. That's why I'm standing where I am now. That's sad. You guys, you've always been respectful to me, Officer Rollins. Almanza, you know me. I've told you guys, if you see me and you're driving down the street and you see me throw you the bird, it's not directed at you. It's at your vehicle because of the stuff that VIA has been doing. But this is a classic example. The officer goes in, talks to JLAC, and he comes out and says, well, VIA police says it's okay for them to park there, so I'm not going to cite them. And I'm like, wait a minute. If that was the case, why did VIA police tell me they had to have Sapd come out because it's on a city property? And if it is on city street, VIA doesn't have the authority to tell that truck they can park there. It's a bus-only lane. I expect it to be cited. Well, I'm not going to do it. Too bad. Goodbye. Okay, exactly. That's why people who do what I do, and I'm sorry, but we call it blue line bullshit. It's an officer backing up another government employee when he shouldn't have. The very minimum that he should have done was say, move the damn truck. This guy's an asshole. He's not going to stop giving you shit. 4 months I had to do that with people parking in the fire zone. And every officer that I talked to was like, if we cite them, the city's just going to dismiss it because it's a city vehicle anyway. And I'm like, that's not the point. They shouldn't park in a fire zone, but you condone it by not telling them they shouldn't do it. And it's the same with that vehicle sitting over there. Every VIA bus that drives around that corner has to go around that bus. And I've documented 3 different pedestrians that cross the street that have to worry about buses. Buses can't see them because where the vehicles are parked. It happens. And it's not me just being petty. These are things just like SAPD drives this golf cart that belongs to Haven for Hope. Got no problem with that, except for they don't have the tag on the cart and they don't have the reflective sticker on the back. They almost ran me over the other day trying to get back over there. But when I say the other day, 5 weeks ago, I keep bringing it up to them. They're like, we know we're supposed to, but I mean, who's going to tell a cop that we're breaking the law? I'm telling you, you're breaking the law. Just do the right thing. You know, I mean, that's all that we ask. We're activists. We're not anti-police, but a lot of the things that we do become anti-police because of the way that police treat us. I mean, like that officer. He comes out, he calls me Kyle. He walks in and he comes out and he calls me by my last name. I'm like, I don't care. I've got a Fusion Center file that's, yay thick. They call me the homeless hippie, whatever. Guys all the way out in Uvalde recognize me. I'm like, I don't care. I'm not hiding my identity. But when an officer, well, Mr. And I'm going, wait a minute. Earlier, you said my name's Kyle, and I told you my name's Tor. Now it's Mr. Reese. Why? He runs my plates. I don't care. I'm like, I ain't got nothing to hide. It is what it is. Whether I'm the homeless hippie, however you guys call me, I've always been respectful when I'm treated with respect. I think I've always been respectful with you. I don't think I've ever, flipped you the bird. I don't think I've ever flipped him the bird. But again, that vehicle parked around there, it's going on almost 3 hours now. Why can't they just move it to a safe? He can move it 90 feet into a secure parking area. Instead, it isn't a bus lane. It's a safety hazard.
I'm going to come right over here, man. I don't want to sleep.
No, you're not. I know both of you guys, and I mean, honestly, when I told you the other day, if I flip you the bird, it's because of your vehicles. If your officer arrests me for stepping on this sidewalk to talk to him, you know why I'm standing here. I mean, that's bullshit, and I understand it. When I do what I do, I get that type of retaliation and that type of bullshit. And then they tell me, you're being petty. And I'm saying, no, it's not petty. When something's not right and we bring it to your attention, I mean, it took 4 months of that for that. And I mean, it seems stupid. No, you're good. This is a consensual, casual conversation.
I remember when you told me about that a while back.
Yeah, and I'm like, to a lot of people, it doesn't seem like a big deal.
And you know what? And I don't mean to cut you off or nothing like that. I'm not backing up or nothing like that. It's not me against them or with them or nothing like that. One of the things that I remember coming up when it was mentioned was, as far as like the bus lanes go, is because it's a VIA vehicle, it's a transit vehicle, and under the transportation code, if I told you, I wouldn't be able to tell you word for word. I never looked it up.
I actually do know, and because it does not transport people, it's not exempt. See, your vehicle transports people, but it doesn't matter. It's law enforcement exempt. If it was one of the little buses and it's transporting, then it's a bus. Right, it's a bus. Just because, again, the officers told that officer, well, it's a exempt vehicle. And he says, oh, look at their tag. And I said, no, the tag means it's tax exempt. There is a difference. I know what you're saying. And when you're saying, well, they're exempt vehicles, they're not exempt from the law. Officers can't park in fire lanes.
Unless it's an
emergency response, other things. And again, we in our community, we give a lot of leeway to a lot of officers. I was in Uvalde 3 days ago, and trust me, I gave a lot of leeway to officers. I didn't know at the time. I went out there to meet some other people who do similar things. We got a lot more attention than what I normally get, but Uvalde is what it is right now. On that same day, someone did call in a bomb threat at a junior college. I understand the police going around filming everyone that they don't know, but as an activist, if you have a police officer following, they followed me to my lunch, they followed me away from my lunch, and I'm going, what the hell is the deal? Afterwards, I find out I'm okay. I'll excuse that. What we didn't excuse was later that night, an officer slapping a camera out of a guy's hand. And again, those are, we're like, hey, we're trying to establish rules are rules and they apply across the board. Good officers, I cannot change a bad officer. I told that to Sergeant Martinez. I very specifically told him, please make sure all your officers know this is a sidewalk and I cannot be arrested for walking on it. He guaranteed me, he told me that. And a month and a half ago, they arrested me for it. And even on the police report, and my lawyer's laughing at it. He's going, you've got this. And I'm like, they knew it when they arrested me. That's not the point. Dirty officers will be dirty officers. And they justify it. They go, he's a troublemaker. Just like this SAPD officer. See, there goes your vehicle now. And that's what it needed to have done 3 hours ago.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying that's what he needed to have done 3 hours ago.
Yeah.
Just move. He could have moved over here. I told the same thing to several of your security officers before. I'm like, dude, I will give you all the respect and I will treat you with respect as long as you treat me the same. But if I see something wrong and I don't mention it, who am I to say you didn't know it was wrong? But if you know it's wrong and you don't care, then I've got to blast it. And I mean,
the way I see it is, I'm like, I wear a uniform and have a badge and a gun. I know that's like the cliche everybody speaks on, just wear a badge and a gun and a uniform. But the way I see it, I'm normal. I'm a regular person, just like you and everybody else out here. Like,
and that's what my viewers need to see. And I mean, I'm just being honest with you, Officer Almanza. I told my viewers, I think it was 2 weeks ago, you're posted up here, and I understand. I don't care. I knew at the time, every time I got on a bus, they were told to instruct you guys, hey, he's going here, follow him. And I'm like, this guy's tasked with following me. This is bullshit. You pulled up, I was about to flip you off. I mean, I'm like, you son, and I'm like, hey, it's a cool officer. He's being polite. It doesn't matter to me that you guys are tasked with following me around. And I'll tell you flat out, I joke with you guys and I screw with your guards. I'll get on a bus and get off 20 feet down the street and catch another bus elsewhere. Why? Because then the guard where they think I'm going is saying, don't screw up. This guy, this terrible guy with the camera is showing up. He carries guns and he's evil.
I think it's a good thing, and it shows transparency.
Well, that's again, exactly. See, good officers, they're not afraid of the camera. Bad officers, and I'll put it this way. Even a good officer is going to be paranoid about camera at sometimes because just like I said, I mean, that incident up at North Star Mall. And I remember I told you, I said, I didn't post it all because there was some excessive force. You didn't. The level 2 guard, he got an extra knee strike or two. Okay, look, I'm not holding that against that guy. He got bit, whatever else, but my viewers aren't going to see that the same way. So again, when I say transparency, people see things the way they see them. At the same time, when I come out, when I tell people I have good relations with via officers, they don't understand that because of what they've seen has happened. I mean, even your public information guy, Mr. Scheidt, tells me, come in and get your information. I'm like, oh no, you're bringing it out to the street now. If I walk in there, one of your officers is going to throw a bogus arrest, and he's like, that won't happen. That won't happen. I'm like, yeah, when I knocked on the door over there, they told me to wait, and they arrested me. I mean, those types of things, that's what completely destroys public trust. And I mean, and I'm gonna back off that and just go back to the other auditor that got arrested out here, and both of his charges were dismissed for the same thing, being on a sidewalk. Both times, and I bring this up because I mean, I know everyone goes, oh, he's the homeless hippie, whatever. Officers really have no idea what I am or what I do. I mean, I project myself in certain ways, I dress in certain ways, but I'm an advocate for the homeless. But at the same time, some of your officers before have seen me on the other side of town doing a 2A march, and they go, aren't you the homeless hippie? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, why are you carrying a gun that costs more than my car? And I'm like, well, it doesn't cost that much. But my point was, both times. What's that? Well, I mean, my thing about that is, both times that your officers arrested this auditor, if their real honest concern was about safety, then they would have determined before they had him any further that he was armed. Both times he had a firearm on him.
I think I remember something like that.
Yeah.
I wasn't there. I can't speak.
No, both times, that time over there, they didn't discover a firearm. They had him cuffed and on the ground. They put him in a car over here with the firearm on him. And for me, you know, when I carry, I don't carry when I go out to talk to you guys. Like right now, there's a magazine in my backpack, but I don't carry a firearm if I anticipate speaking to an officer. It to me, it's I don't feel I need it, but at the same time, like if I'm doing a 2A march, it's going to be obvious and exposed. And like I don't know, maybe a month and a half ago when I did my 2A march, I walked 11 miles throughout the city. One of the park officers was still confused and thought you couldn't carry a firearm in a park. I wasn't going to argue with him. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I went and talked to another officer, and he's like, well, why are you carrying it open and also have it concealed? And it was hot that day, and my concealed was printing. And I told him, I said, look, I carry open to make the point. My concealed, it's in condition 1, meaning it's locked and ready to go. But this one up here, if someone's brave enough to take it from me, they can have it. But I'm not letting them get down the street, load it, and you know. And he's like, okay, I was just wondering why you'd have 2. And I'm like, officers carry backup guns, but the only reason I would carry a backup, and the only reason that I carried it, what would typically be concealed is because I didn't have a retention holster. I won't open carry without one, but that's just me. But anyway, what's going back to? No, you do what you need to do. Yep, it's going. So he's going to respond to a fight down the street. Okay, guys, it looks like my camera froze again. I hate it when it gets this hot. At this point, Officer Almanza is down the street. There's a fight going on down there, and that's what we expect our officers to do. This other officer's clearing out. He's heading down there, and since they're diverted, I'm going to get the fuck out of here while I can. So that's the way that rolls. Blue Lives Matter is out. Thank you very much.